Well, hello and welcome to this video. Today's shot where I'm kind of painting in my messy studio. So are you an artist wanting to sell more of your original artwork, or perhaps your art services like workshops, courses, etc., that you find that you're right at the very beginning and you just don't know how to get started? You haven't got a website, you're not on social media, you haven't got a mailing list, perhaps you've not even got a marketing budget, and you're sitting there thinking, Sophie, I want to get my work out into the world, but where exactly do I start? Today in this video, I'm going to share 5 simple steps for marketing your art for total newbies. All right, let's grab that pen and paper and let's go ahead and dive in. So number 1, what are you offering and what's the price point? So are you going to be selling original 2 or 3D art? Are you going to be selling prints or reproductions, print on demand? Are you going to be selling workshops, courses, retreats? What is it you're going to be selling? So we need to understand what it is and what's the pricing strategy for that. There's a big difference having a room full of paintings, for example, completed, and you're standing there pondering going, not sure how much I should charge for that one. You need a solid pricing strategy. Now don't worry, everything I'm talking about in this video today, I have other videos kind of expanding into those. Pricing is one of them, and I'll link all the other useful videos below this one. So you'll need a clear pricing strategy for your products or services. Are they online or offline? Are you predominantly selling, you got an online model, so you've got prints and print on demand or online courses, or have you got physical workshops, work for sale in your studio? Is it online, offline? How are you going to differentiate your work from somebody else's? Have you got a local competitor, for example, who's doing exactly the same thing? How are you going to stand out? What's going to make your product or service stand out? So grab that notebook and start writing some notes and see if you can answer some of those questions. Have I got my clear product and service? Have I got my pricing list? Am I online, offline? Am I clear what makes it different? Let's move on to number 2. So number 2 is about niche and audience. Who is going to buy your product or service? All right, this is where a lot of people go wrong. Understanding that niche is really important. What does that mean? That means you're going to focus down. So for example, my niche here, florals and still lifes. That's very different for if I said, oh, I'm a semi-abstract acrylic painter. It gives me something, some acrylics, semi-abstract. It's narrowed it down a little bit from say I'm an acrylic painter or I'm a painter, but I'm an acrylic painter who offers florals and still lifes. Well, that then becomes a niche, and people will either go, yep, I want that, or no, I'm looking for a landscape of Scotland. You want to be able to communicate clearly what you do to that audience, and then obviously your audience are going to be people, in my case, who love florals and still lifes and want their house bursting full of colour, and they want to have florals falling off the wall, and they want to have maybe in their kitchen still lives and oranges and fruits and things all with their decor. So you want to get clear exactly what it is that you're offering and for whom. That's the niche and the audience part. You want to really hone what it is that you do and become very good at it. You want to avoid that jack of all trades and master of none. If you offer everything to everyone, it is such a confusing, people won't understand what you offer and they'll move right on to someone else who's got a clear message. So really, especially when you're starting out, you need to choose a niche and move forward with it. That's not to say you can't expand once you're a bit more established, but I promise you from a marketing perspective, being able to communicate, I do this, but I don't do all these other things, is going to make your marketing really simple. So your action here is make a decision, and we're moving on to number 3. So number 3, how and where are people going to purchase what you have to offer? And again, I hear this so many times, I've got all this work, Sophie, or I've put this workshop together, but that's great, but how are people actually going to physically pay for it? How are they going to buy? Where's the buy now button? And what happens when they click it? How's it going to be delivered? All of these questions. And very often it's very confusing at the beginning. It's like, should I have a website? I don't have a budget to build a website. I don't know how to build a website. And so that can be a stumbling block, right? You don't move forward because you have this vision of, you see other people's big multi-page websites and you think, I don't have anything like that. I don't have the funds to create something like that. And so you kind of fall into inaction. But actually what we want to say is, well, okay, well, what could you do before you get to that step of building a website? How could you get out there so somebody can buy what you've got without this big website hurdle? So I often recommend something like a third-party site. So for example, if you're selling original artwork, 2D artwork, and I'm sure there's another one for 3D, but 2D artwork certainly. Here in Australia we have Blue Thumb, you have things like Saatchi Art, you actually have so many online galleries. And you want to choose something that already has an audience, that already people going there looking to buy art. Then it's up to you to consistently upload, to use all the features of the site, to promote the site, but we'll talk about that later. Let's just imagine for the moment all you did was put something on a third-party site and crossed your fingers, then there's still a chance that someone's going to buy because there's an audience looking there. It's not your audience, but there is an audience. So it's a start, and it might buy you some time before you get that website. So if you have, for example, workshops and you don't have a website, there are other platforms that you can put your workshops on. And again, here in Australia, we have something called Class Bento, which is online kind of art crafting classes. So if somebody is looking for an art or crafting making kind of class in the city that you're in, then they might come across that site. It's pretty well optimized, and find your class. So again, it's a great place to start when you don't have an audience, you don't have a website. And obviously if you do print on demand, you can set up an Etsy store. Now you really are fishing in a ginormous pond there, providing a tiny, tiny fish in a huge pond, but it's still possible, right? Especially if you've got a clear niche, something that is perhaps on trend at the moment and you're prepared to put in a little bit of work. So third-party sites. Next up, obviously, is to have ultimately your own website where you send everybody to, where they can buy what you have on offer. So that's that next piece, is like, okay, well, how can somebody buy what I've got already? And this is crucial. There's no point marketing and letting everybody know what it is you're doing if you don't have somewhere to send them where they can actually purchase, right? So ideally down the track, I recommend that you have one core sales platform, whether that's your own website or whether that's you've decided is a third-party site. A lot of people's core platform might be an established Etsy shop, for example, or some people just sell through this Blue Thumb site or through other online sites. It's completely up to you. But ultimately, I would recommend having your own website. When people Google you, they hear your name or they see something, it's really nice if they come to your own site, because then you haven't got all your competitors' work, right? People are looking just at your work. They're reading about you. They're looking at your things. They're getting on your mailing list for coming to that. And so everything there is just aimed around you. Whereas the downside of a third-party site, of course, is that not only people there, but they're looking at your work and they go, oh, this is also recommended. You like this, you might like that. Great as a buyer experience, not so great as an artist experience. So you have to kind of weigh that all up. So an action point for you is just pick one and get started right now. All right, let's move on to step number 4, and that is connect and nurture. We have to remember that business is about people at the end of the day. It's about you as a person, it's about your potential buyers. We're all people and we crave some sort of connection. So it's really important not to think of business as this non-emotional, non-connecting sort of foreign object over there. I have a business, it's over there. But actually, probably for most of you, you don't have a business, you have a self-employed situation where you are the artist. And therefore, you really want to be able to come across as authentic, as real, as open, communicative, so that you can build that connection with your would-be audience so that when the time is right, they're ready to purchase from you. So where and how are you going to connect with your new audience once they find you? So it could be socials, it could be that you decide, oh, I'm going to set myself up on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to connect with people that way. Even if you do that as an interim step, really the long game is to build your own mailing list. I talk about this all the time. It's the one thing that you are going to own. Nobody can take it away from you. So really, even if you are on socials, you want to be thinking about strategies that take people from the social platform onto your mailing list. Now, if you're just starting out, you might go, whoa, Sophie, this is an awful lot. I just want to give you this kind of tick box of the things that you want to be doing. So you can start out with an Instagram account. free to set up. You can put content, you can post, you can do the Instagram strategy and work to build followers there. Or you might say, actually, I am going to put up my own website and I'm ready to get a little bit technical, and you can start with a mailing list on a platform like MailChimp or Kit, that used to be ConvertKit, or something like Klaviyo. Lots of people are using that and recommending that, or MailerLite. There's a lot of platforms. And you can build and you can nurture that list by sending regular emails out. And over time, people will eventually be like, oh, they're ready to buy, because not everyone is ready to buy now. They might be interested. They might see something, go, oh, I like that, but they're too busy. It's not right. They don't have a gap on the wall. It's not the right moment. 6 months down the line, they've maybe renovated their house, or they want to buy a present for somebody, and your emails are coming through and they go, oh, I love this artist's work. Now I'm ready to buy. I'm going to purchase that particular thing. Step 5, because we've said the mailing list is vital, let's look at strategies to build the mailing list. Because at the end of the day, like I said, this is the piece, this is the core piece to your business. This is what you own. So this will be really where you want to put most of your energy and effort. I recommend choosing 3 to 5 core marketing strategies, and you really want to be thinking of those at this point in where you are with how can I actually get more people onto that list. Now, I have a video that I just shot last week that's all about a weekly marketing routine. I talk a lot about sort of strategies and what you can do each week. So you want to check out that video here, or there. I never remember where it gets posted. It goes up here somewhere, but I'm also going to put a link to it below this video, because I think that's quite a nice step. Because once you've chosen your 3 to 5 marketing strategies, then you want to build a routine that you're doing every week. So you can think about where your audience already hangs out to help you choose those strategies. And you'll also think about, well, if you're offline, you might choose one strategy versus another if you're online. So if you're online and you've got that Etsy store, you might do Pinterest, for example, or you might have some sort of content strategy, or you might be here on YouTube. If you teach, you're definitely probably going to be here on YouTube, or you're going to be on something like Substack. Please hit me up in the comments if you'd like me to make a video on Substack. I'm pretty fascinated with that platform at the moment. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more about, is that a good place to be, or Substack versus Patreon, then pop a comment below and let me know, and I will do just that. And if you're more of a local business, then you might actually just look to finding local companies that can cross promote you, or you might use flyers and posters. You might have your Google local listing. There'll be different strategies according to whether you're predominantly online or offline. So really now we're thinking about that weekly routine, and routine might be a word that a lot of you are going to go, whoa, Sophie, I don't want a routine. That's horrible. I hear you, but it's essential. It's that consistency week in, week out that is going to enable you to build and grow your business. So in conclusion, good marketing really is all about consistency, authenticity, and connection. All right, you want to show up on a regular basis. You want to be you, not be somebody you think you ought to be in front of the camera. And you really also want to be thinking about, how can I connect best with my audience? So your action points are to get some of those basics set up. And I do have some freebies, like my 40 ways to market your art. I do have a new marketing freebie coming at time of shooting this. So I'm probably just gonna say you can grab the 40 ways now, but know that something bigger and better is coming. So make sure to get on my email list so you don't miss out. So grab a freebie below here, and that will put you on my mailing list when you'll hear from me every week with new tips and tricks and behind the scenes of running this business. I also have a whole playlist on marketing videos, so if you want to know more, that's also linked below this one. So I hope you've enjoyed today's content. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up, because that means it gets pushed out to more artists like you, and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the next video as well. All right, thank you so much for watching. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye.